Hi guys, welcome back to the Mindworks channel. You're with me, Arun Sharma, and we are continuing our series on CAT questions, previous year questions of CAT 21. All those of you who are preparing for CAT, this series will be valuable for you in terms of not just understanding the depth of level of difficulty of the questions, but also the shortcuts and methods, various methods and the various thought processes you have to use to solve those questions. So we have already done part 1 and part 2. The links of those are provided to you in the description. Please go and watch those, and also in the playlist. Please go and watch those. This is part 3, and we are doing questions 12 to 16. Part 1 we had done questions 1 to 5 of this paper, and part 2 we have done 6 to 11. So I'm doing 12 to 16 right now. And 12 is a pretty conventional question on time and work. Pretty simple, I think. If you have seen the first 100 questions and you've solved 100 questions on time and work, you should be able to solve this. And maybe you can pause the video and try to do this yourself. Anu, Vinu and Manu can complete a piece of work in 15 days, 12 days and 20 days respectively. So 15, 12 and 20 is the number of days Anu, Vinu and Manu take to complete the work. So as soon as you see this, the first reaction at this point should be that I should take the work to be 60. And if I take the work to be 60, Anu's work is 4 per day, Vinu's work is 5 per day, and Manu's work is 3 units per day. आगे क्या बोल रहा है question? Vinu works every day. So Vinu is working every day. Anu works only on alternate days starting from the first day, while Manu works only on alternate days starting from the second day. So Anu works on every alternate day starting from the first day, and Manu works every alternate day starting from the second day. So that means this is the pattern in which they are working. Then the number of days needed to complete the work. So days on which, so you have to basically divide the days into two kinds. Days on which Vinu and Anu are working. The number of the work rate is 5 plus 4, 9 on those dates. Dates on which Vinu and Manu are working, the work rate is 5 plus 3, 8 on those days. So every 2 days, 17 units of work will get done in the context that the total work is 60. So you realize that every block of 2 days, 9 plus 8, 17 units of work will get done. So in 6 days, you will have 51 units of work done. And on the 7th day, you're going to have Vinu along with Anu who are going to be working. And since the total work is 60, and by the 6th day you would have done 51 units of work, the work left will be 9, and the work rate of Vinu plus Anu together is also 9, 5 plus 4. So they'll take the 7th day to complete the job. And that's the answer to this question. As I said, 7 days is the answer to this question. As I said, 3 marks in the CAT if you have solved any 50 to 100 questions on time and work, and specifically if you're used to doing it through LCMs, which is the fastest method for time and work questions of this nature. This would be a pretty simple cakewalk for you. Let's look at the next question. The next question is asking us the number of integers that satisfy the inequalities mod n minus 60 less than mod n minus 100 less than mod n minus 20 is. Now you can try to get technical about this, that when n is less than 60, that's the normal reaction. If you see any situation, something less than something is actually two inequalities, a, b, c. Whenever you have an equation f1 is equal to f2 is equal to f3, even if in an equal to situation, if you have an equation like this, it means two equations are given to you. You've got two unique equations, one between f1 and f2, one between f1 and f3. And when f1's relationship is defined to f2 and with f3, then f2, f3 automatically gets defined. So this is also two inequalities you'll have to solve. So you can try to go conventional and go mathematical by saying that if n is less than 60, this expression will be 60 minus n, this expression will be 100 minus n. So 60 minus n has to be less than 100 minus n gets cancelled. And you can say that 60 less than 100 is always going to happen, which means that if n is 60, less than 60, it's always going to be true that mod n minus 60 is less than mod n minus 100. But you can start doing that, but then you'll have to start thinking about between 60 to 100 and so on. So instead of doing that, what you should try to do is, I personally believe in such questions where there's not much logical complexity, it's best to take numbers and try to just see the pattern. It's much faster rather than trying to do equation writing. First of all, you can do this mentally. So the first thing is, I'm trying to look for values of n where this inequality is satisfied. So it's very clear to me that between 60 to 100, the nature of this inequality, the way this inequality will work, will be slightly different from from situations when it is less than 60. So once that is clear to you and you realize that this is pretty clear to you, what you start doing is you start taking value of n below 60, and if you see, you will see if you take value of n below 60, what will happen is, you take for example, at 60 this will be 0 and this will be 40, at 59 this will be 1 and this will be 41, at 58 this will be 2 and this will be 42, at 0 this will be 60, n is equal to 0, this will be 60 and this will be 100. So you pretty much realize that when you are taking values of n less than 60, this expression is always satisfied. Even if you go to negative values, like -1, this is going to be minus 61 in the modulus, so 61 less than 101, -2, 62 less than 102. You take -100, -160, which means 160 less than 200. So you realize that for all values of n below 60 and up to 60, this is true actually. And then when you go from 60 to 100, you should be able to easily spot by simple logic, you should be able to easily spot the point at which it's going to be equal. N equals 80 very obviously gives you 20 and 20. So you just need to check what happens at numbers like 61, 62, 81, 82, 83 and so on. So if I check at 61, this is 1 and this is 39. If I check at 65, this is 5 and this is 35. So I can continue seeing that till I reach 80, this expression is smaller than that expression. And after 80, once I go to 81 for example, this expression is 21 and that is 19. So 21 less than 19 does not work. So I am able to understand through this mental thought, which can actually be executed in 15, 20, 30 seconds at max. I am able to understand with this mental thought that this part of the expression will get validated for n less than 80. Any value less than 80, for n less than 80, this expression will get satisfied. So that means all the way to 79, where n is an integer. We are talking about number of integers here. So now we have to test the other equation, and the other equation is the other inequality, is n minus 100 should be less than n minus 20. Now again, when you look at this, just the experience you just had in the previous one, you realize that n equals 60 is going to be the equal point. At n equals 60, this is 40 and this is 40. If I go to n equals 61, this is 39, this is 41. N equals 62, this is 38 and this is 42. So starting from n equals 60, this is going to become equal, and from 61 onwards we have the inequality satisfied. If I just check to confirm at 59, at n equals 59, this becomes 41, this becomes 39. So 41 less than 39 does not match our requirements. So what we can realize is that from 60 to 79, this is going to get not from 60 to 79, actually 61 to 79. At 60 both are equal. So the inequality less than this, there's a strict inequality here, this has to be less than that. So from 61 to 79, this is going to be valid, and that was valid from 79 all the way back on the number line. So if you think on the number line, you should be able to realize that for the numbers 61 to 79, 19 such numbers, we have this inequality also matched and that inequality also matched. So this is the solution to this question, and the correct answer has to be 19. And you should trust yourself to be able to do it in this form rather than having to do this mathematically. Of course, if you do it mathematically, you'll have to say, as I said, first solve it for n less than 60, first solve this part for n less than 60, and the modulus logic is that for n less than 60, mod n minus 60 can be opened up into an equation as 60 minus n, and for n less than 60, this is also 100 minus n. I should write an equal to there, this is less than, and since inequality signs pretty much allow all mathematical operations except multiplication by a negative number or division by a negative number, they operate similarly to an equal to sign. I can just cancel these out. 60 less than 100, so for n less than 60 this is always true, right? For n less than 60 it's always true. From n 60 to 100, between 60 to 100, this is a mathematical solution, and that's why I'm trying to show you that these solutions don't work in the context of shortcuts. For n between 60 to 100, when you go for n, the value of n between 60 to 100, n minus 60 will, mod n minus 60 will open as n minus 60, and n minus 100, mod n minus 100 will open as 100 minus n, because mod n minus 100 for n between 60 to actually 99, between these values, this expression will be negative. So when you want to remove the modulus, you have to invert this with a minus sign. So 100 minus n, that's standard operation in mathematics. So 2n less than 160. So I end up getting n less than 80. I get the same solution there, right? And then you can try to think of the third range, n greater than 100. n greater than 100, n minus 60 has to be less than n minus 100. And you can see that if I do this, I have to have minus 60 greater than minus 100, which is less than minus 100, which is always false. So there are going to be no solutions after 100 on this. But this is just the first inequality, and then to do the other inequality, you have to do similar three ranges, what happens for n less than 20, and then n between 20 to 100, and what happens for n greater than 100, and then match the two. It will become very cumbersome if you go that way. With numbers, this was much simpler. You just have to identify that all the way, when you're talking about integers, all the way up to 79, all the way to minus infinity, the first inequality is valid, and the second inequality is valid from 61 to 79. Once you understand that in this range, you are able to understand that there are 19 numbers. So that's all you have to do in this question. Okay, let's look at the third one. This is a log question, and this requires you to know the basic structures and thinking around logs. So the first reaction to this, you have a expression here, and then they're asking you the value of 100x. What is the value of 100x? So the first reaction here in this question has to be to open the logs or open the powers of the logs. So the left hand side will be 5 minus 1 by 2 log 1 plus x, because log under root 1 plus x is log 1 plus x raised to half. So the half can come out. This is standard logs logic. And this is plus 4 by 2, so plus 2 log 1 minus x. I'm not writing the base 10 because it's base 10 everywhere. So when we need the base 10, we can get it back towards the end of the question. So this is the left hand side, and the right hand side can be written as 1 log 1 minus log minus half log log a divided by b can be written as log a minus log b, and b is this, b is minus half log 1 minus x 1 plus x, because that's what 1 minus x square is. And that right hand side, log 1 is of course 0, log 1 is also always 0, so this can become 0, and this part can be rewritten as log, this is log a into b. So if I take the half outside, log a into b can be written as log a plus log b. So I can write this part as my right hand side eventually becomes, if I simplify, my right hand side eventually becomes minus half log 1 minus x plus log 1 plus x. This becomes my right hand side of this logarithmic equation. And of course, in this whole logarithmic equation, the base is always 10. So once I start looking at this, what I can see is that this minus half log 1 plus x is replicated on this side also, minus half log 1 plus x. So I can delete this and delete this together. So what that leads me to is 5 is equal to minus 2.5 log 1 minus x. So it's pretty much 2 steps till now. I've taken this 2 log 1 minus x to this side, and this side would, after the deletion of this part, the right hand side would just be log 1 minus x, minus half log 1 minus x. So if I take the plus 2 log from the left hand side to the right hand side will become minus 2.5 log 1 minus x. So I have a situation now based on this third transformation in the question. I have a situation which tells me that log 1 minus x is equal to minus 2. So ये तीनों steps में हम लोग कोई special rules नहीं use किए. We have not used many special rules. These are just the rules that logs has. Log a plus log b, log a divided by log b is log a minus b, log a minus log b, log a into b is log a plus log b, and also log a to the power b is b log a. So these are the only 3 rules we have used. And of course यहाँ पे भी we used log a divided by log b as log a minus log b. When we wrote it, this is log 1 minus log under root 1 minus x square. So we have reached this point doing that. And the last thing you have to use here is the definition of logs. And at this point I'll bring back my reaction that this is on the base 10. And you have the definition of log, which says that if log a to the base b is equal to c, then we have b raised to c is equal to a. So using that, I can write as 1 minus x is equal to 10 raised to minus 2, which is basically 1 by 100, 0.01. So 1 minus x is 0.01. So that gives me a value of x as 0.99. And once I get a value of x as 0.99, the question is asking me 100x very conveniently. So if the value of x is 0.99, 100 times x is going to be 99. And that's the answer to this question. So pretty much a pretty simple, straightforward logs question here, where you just have to use the basic rules. And remember, there are around 7-8 basic rules in logs. A lot of you make the mistake of not studying logs well. Please don't do that mistake, because it's a cardinal error, and you always have logs questions these days in the exam. So fourth question for today. This is a good quality question, slightly tough one. I want you to try this before I come in and solve this for you. The question says, suppose hospital A admitted 21 less COVID infected patients than hospital B. So let's think about this. Let me have hospital A and hospital B. Let's say hospital B has n COVID patients, so hospital A has n minus 21 COVID patients. First step, first reaction, and all eventually recovered. The sum of recovery days for patients in hospitals A and B were 200 and 152. So this is the number of patients. In any maths question, it's important to keep track of the variables which are involved. So number of patients are n for B and n minus 21 for A. Total recovery days in hospital A and B were 200 and 152. So how does the number of patients connect to the total recovery days? The answer is, the logic you should be able to see even at this point without the question telling you anything further, is that there will be an average days of recovery. What is for these patients, what is the average value of number of recovery days? There will be an average recovery length of recovery day in terms of number of days in both these cases, and the product of this into this will be this. Both these will be equal. So keep going ahead, and the average recovery days for patients. So the question continues telling you the average recovery days for patient admitted in hospital A was 3 more than the average in hospital B. So the average recovery days in hospital A, this was 3 more than B. Just read that again. The average recovery days for patients admitted in hospital A was 3 more than the average in hospital B. So then the number admitted in hospital A was. So what this is saying, this average is 3 more than that average. This average can be represented as 200 upon n minus 21. This is 3 more than 152 by n, which means 152 by n plus 3 gives me the left hand side of this equation. So the solving of this for n is the answer. We are being asked the question, number admitted in hospital A was. So यहाँ पे इसको solve करके तुमको hospital A का n minus 21 चाहिए. So n minus 21 के लिए you need to find n. So this will turn out to be a quadratic equation. I can rub this out because we have now seen this part of the equation or this part of the thinking, and this got a pretty messy in the exam because the numbers are large here. So if you see what happens here, and this is a theta question, so you don't have options. If it was an option based question, you just place n into the numbers into the picture and you'll get an answer to the question. But this is a theta question, so you have to find a number from yourself, right? And you can't really do a trial and error here because you really don't know where to pick that number from. So there's no option but to do this. 152 plus 3n into n minus 21 is equal to 200n. Taking that n that side. So if I expand the right hand side, I have 152n. This on the right hand side I've got 152n minus 152 into 21, which is 3192. Is that correct? 152 into 2 is 304. 20 is 3040 plus 152 minus 3092 plus 3n square minus 63n. This is the equation that gets formed here, right? So and you, as you start expanding this expression, as you start expanding this and get into a quadratic equation, you will have a pretty tedious kind of quadratic equation here. And this is a situation where when you use the final expression as minus b plus minus under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a, the value of c, as you can see here, is minus 3092 and a is 3. So this is going to be large calculations inside this. So it's best to do it on the calculator, on the on-screen calculator in the exam. These are the exact situations where you need them, because if you try to do this yourself, this is going to be very tedious and very long, and you might make mistakes. So get the equation, solve the equation. If you solve it correctly, you end up getting a value of n as 56. Two values come out, 56 and minus 19. I'm not doing it here. आप उसको करके देख लो. और n 56 है. N is the number of patients admitted in hospital B. So 35 is the number of patients admitted in hospital A, because that was n minus 21. So that's the answer to this question, 35. One last question, interesting question about onions and average prices. One last question for this session. Onion is sold for 5 consecutive months at the rate of 10, 20, 25, 25 and 50 per kg. Onion is sold for 5 consecutive months at the rate of 10, 20, 25, 25 and 50 rupees per kg. A family spends a fixed amount of money on onion for each of the first 3 months and then spends half that amount on onion for each of the next 2 months. So let's assume the family is spending a fixed amount for the first 3 months. There's an fixed amount which is spending the first 3 months, and it's spending a fixed half that amount. So let's say it's spending 2A here, it is spending A here. So I want a situation where this spending should be such that my average, the price of onion in every month comes out to be kind of organized, or kind of non-decimals. The question being asked is the average expense for onion in rupees per month for the family over these 5 months, rupees per kg for the family over these 5 months is closest to. So the target value here is the average price of onions, right? So if I think about this, typically what I'll do is, first of all, if I take a average, let's say I want a LCM of 10, 20 and 25 for the amount I want to spend in these first 3 months. So 10, 20 and 25, you should be able to see 300 as a number that each one of them multiplies. So if I take 300 each, that the spending was 300 each every month, and you're buying, these are the rates. You're buying this at 10 rupees, 20 rupees and 25 rupees. The quantity bought would be 30 kgs, 15 kgs and 12 kgs. And the last 2 months, you are spending an amount, spends half that amount on onion for each of the next 2 months. That means the last 2 months, you are spending an amount of 150 each. So you'll be able to buy at 25 rupees a kg, you'll be able to buy 6 kgs, and 50 rupees a kg, you'll be able to buy 3 kgs. So the question is pretty simple. What is the average price per kg over the 5 months? So average price can be got by total amount spent divided by the total quantity. So that's one of the reasons why I keep telling you that it's very important for you to keep track of what variables are being talked about. This question was giving you average price of purchase every month, and you had to assume the total purchase cost based on your thoughts or based on convenient values, so that you would get the ratio of purchase. And once you have the ratio of purchase, please remember, इसको तुम 600, 600, 600 और 300, 300 भी ले सकते थे. You would have taken that, this would have doubled in that case. But the average price does not change, because weighted average, this is a weighted average question. Remember, weighted average means the average price depends on the ratio of purchase, not on the actual value of purchase, quantity of purchase. So even if this is 60 and 30 and 24 and 6 and 3, 12 and 6, the ratio of purchase would be same, right? So you could then simply get the calculated average of, by total amount spent 1200 divided by total quantity purchased, 30, 45, 57, 66. So total quantity purchase is 66. So 1200 by 66, which is 600, by 33, which is 200 by 11, and the closest amount, if you look at the options, closest average expense for per kg for onion 20, 26, 16 and 18, 200 by 11 gives me 18 as the answer. So this is the correct answer. Of course, you could have done one more thing in this question from this point. Once you get this number of kgs as purchased, 30, 15, 12, 6 and 3, you can convert this into a ratio. This is also possible. 1, 2, 4, 5 and 10. And the total N1A1 plus N2A2 plus N3A3 plus N4A4 and N5A5 divided by N1 plus N2 plus N3 plus N4 plus N5 will also give the answer. So this is 10 into 10, 100, plus 5 into 20, 100, plus 4 into 25, 100, plus 2 into 25, 50, plus 1 into 50, 50, divided by 22, 5, 19, 22. So all that is done is your 1200 by 66 would have come down to 400 by 22. in this case, because you have basically divided each of these by 3. So the same answer you'll get whether you take 1200 by 66 or 200 or 400 by 22. The answer is same, and that's the closest answer is 18. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I'll be back with more. Please do let me know, and please do share the videos. I want some more traction on through your help on these CAT prep, on these CAT solutions videos, because I think this is really valuable for you in terms of the solving of this. It's not available in a complete this thing, and if the numbers are good and the views are good, I would be motivated to do the other papers also, going back, first of all, the other slots of CAT 21, and then going back into CAT 20, 19 and so on. But you need to help me for that. So do share the videos, do subscribe to the channel, do talk about the channel on your social media, do share the videos on your social media, help us grow a little bit more and a little bit faster. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.